And it's interesting, I recently learned from my rabbi that in Hebrew, the word for a challenge and the word for a miracle share the same root word, which is nes. And that's because when life throws you challenges, it brings out miraculous things in us.
So let's fast forward. You're healthy, you're doing well, you're married, life is good. Talk a little bit about why you decided to go into the leadership space and become a coach. And, I know you're a motivational speaker as well. Talk a little bit about that decision once your health got back to a good state.
Yeah, I think, I'm in a really lucky and interesting position. My whole life up until the point with cancer, I was helping others, helping communities get over their crisis, giving charity. And then all of a sudden the tables were turned and I went from, the giving of charity to the receiving of charity. So to be in a position where I could see both sides of this situation really made me take a good hard look at who I was and who I wanted to become. And I wanted to be the type of guy who was, out there kind of helping others and kind of leading the way, and kind of being a good example for other people on how to, be a successful leader in the kind of a crazy world that we're living in right now. And so, part of what I do is I do a lot of public speaking, motivational speaking about, leadership and relationship building, overcoming challenges. And it's interesting, I recently learned from my rabbi that in Hebrew, the word for a challenge and the word for a miracle share the same root word, which is nes. And that's because when life throws you challenges, it brings out miraculous things in us. And these challenges aren't supposed to beat us down, but rather the opposite. They're to build us up, they empower us to be able to go out there and make a difference as an individual and then as a community. And so I really, I believe in that one person does have the ability to help others out there to change the world. You don't have to win a reality TV show. You don't have to have all these fancy titles and tons of money to be a successful leader to change the world. Each and every one of us can start doing these things in our local community, to start making a difference. And so if I can kind of, share that message and share a little message of hope and inspiration, to some people out there, maybe we can kind of, create this little mini revolution of consciousness, for everyone out there to try to kind of be, kind of active members of the community.
Super. I really like the idea of each of us can have an impact, that it doesn't have to be the big splash on the world stage, that every day we have opportunities within our own communities to help move us forward in terms of our consciousness, the way we treat each other, how we execute our business every day, all that stuff. So you're talking to a lot of leaders. What obstacles or what traps do you see them kind of get themselves into? I've done a lot of work in terms of that mindset. What are you seeing out there that, with your clients, that they're kind of wrestling with and looking for a way to push through to a better way forward?
Yeah. And I've looked over kind of some of the skills that I used to win the TV show Survivor, and the skills that I used to get over cancer that I'm using in my life today, that I feel have kind of helped me kind of, not be successful, but, manage the life that I'm living. And some of those skills that I found were helpful to me, something like being selfless in a really selfish world that we live in, being a teacher, being a leader, being a member of the community. And those are some of the things that I try to, project on other people and help them evaluate in their own life. How are you using those skills in your life to make yourself better and those around you better? Well, one of the things that I've really been focusing on recently is just the simple concept of being kind and being likable. I think being a likable person and a likable leader is really understated. It all goes back to that. Survivor is a game of relationships. Life is a game of relationships. CEO corporates is a game of relationship. It's how you work with other people, how you interact with the other people that determine how well and how far you're going to go in this game that we're playing, this game of life. And I truly believe that being likable is one of the most important foundations of being a good leader. As we've seen in the world today, there are some great leaders that may not be as likable, and I don't think they're as successful out there. I mean, if you're looking at what's happening politically right now, we have a leader that's not super likable right now to some people, compared to some other former leaders that we've had in this country. So I think that's really interesting, and that's something I've been focusing on.
Thank you for that. So it really is about, you said something really important to me, and it's about the ability to connect. And I think if you are kind, if you are selfless, if you are accessible, that makes those connections easier. And you also said something previously which really struck a chord with me, which is that, what resonated with me about what you talked about is, taking that action, moving, even if it's a little step that you can do, moving forward, create those relationships which become then a community, which becomes, in my view, when you have that community, you can do some great things in terms of the impact in the future. So again, keywords for me, connection and relationships, and focusing on those things, I think will help us all.